artistically rusty is a weird experience. Like, I know all my knowledge and skill obviously won't have disappeared after a couple of weeks or even a couple months or even longer of not drawing, but taking a break sort of means that all my insecurities and self-doubt sort of rise to the surface, and they come in the way of me picking up my practice again in a sort of jumbled mess of imposter syndrome and self-conscious questioning and low-level anxiety. After I take a break, I usually have a renewed sense of energy for creating. I want to put pencil to paper, but when I actually try to, I feel somewhat frozen, or at least like I'm moving through thick sludge. It usually takes me a few tries to get going, pick up steam, and feel satisfied with what I'm making. My first sketches and paintings generally won't go very well. They'll feel stiff and sort of unnatural. I'm starting to have enough experience to know that I need to push through it and not listen to my brain fighting the effort it takes to get back into the flow of things. I know what to expect of myself, and that my mind will gradually relax and find its bearings again. Like a lot of things in life, it's often simply a matter of being kind but firm with myself, letting myself expand back into the practiced routine of creating art by being both forgiving for my rustiness and also firm in the face of the temporary discomfort of it. My first step is usually to set up my painting space. Motivation needs to be fed. It's a difficult beast to summon out of nowhere and nothing, and I find that doing comes before feeling the desire to do it. Spending some time setting up my space also sort of backs me into a self-created corner where I just spent some time doing that, so the next natural step would be to sit down and start using the space I just spent some time setting up. Motivation basically often needs a little push first. Each painting you'll see in this video took me a little under a day to complete, and while I did sometimes take a day or two break in between some of the paintings, I generally found myself falling back into good habits, both mentally and technically, and slowly I managed to regain control over my rusty mind and hands, and things started to fall into place a little bit better over the sort of couple weeks that those paintings spanned. My second painting in this small series was probably the one that went the most smoothly, that flowed the best out of all of them. While most of the pieces in this series are sort of meant as studies for future bigger projects, this one is one I'm happy with as is, and I intend on this concept to stay where it is at least for now. Since my last video, I had a few people get in touch to ask how to keep up the motivation to draw and stay creative on a regular basis, and I'll try and do a video touching on that subject at some point, but in the meantime, I thought I'd recommend a video on Skillshare I think is wonderful along that topic. In her course, Stick to It, How to Maintain a Creative Practice, Amaryllis Henderson lays out different ways to set up a healthy mindset around your practice, and her course is really lovely and builds a good foundation for basic principles to keep up with your creativity. If you'd like to check that course out, make sure to click the link in my description. The first 1,000 of you who use the link will get a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership. So you can explore both the video I recommended as well as the rest of their video library for free. As an online learning community, Skillshare offers thousands of classes on a huge variety of subjects. They range from productivity, video editing, social media marketing, to fine art, illustration, self-development, cooking, all sorts of things. The classes are structured in ways that make it easy to dive in and out of them, and they foster a sense of community with projects and discussions and reviews. If that sounds like something that could help you in your quest to create and maintain a creative practice, then I definitely recommend clicking on the link in my description. It also really supports my channel. Again, the link in the description gives you a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership, and then if you want to keep subscribing to Skillshare after that, an annual membership is less than $10 a month. Thank you so much for listening, and now back to painting. The piece I worked on after the one you just saw me finish in this video was probably the most simple in terms of composition and lighting, but still one of the most complicated for me to achieve technically. The idea stemmed from a sketch I did back in, I think, 2018 or 2019, and I combined it somewhat with the aesthetic of the creature under the surface, the painting I did earlier in this video, where the skin looks like water. I love the idea of the body as an immaterial metaphor. The bodies I create, they're metaphors of the minds that inhabit them, which is why sometimes I see my work described as body horror, and it doesn't feel super accurate for me. My intention isn't to horrify, it's not my intention to shock. I want to intrigue and fascinate and sort of pose questions rather than make anyone recoil. My work is not gory, it's not meant to be representing the human form as a physicality. I use the human body shape as, again, a metaphor for the mind. So this fourth painting was meant as an exploration of the character's pose, as well as a technical exercise to try and achieve that sort of liquefied look or liquid look for the skin. I knew that would be a challenge, so it's definitely something I'm gonna need to explore quite a bit more before I decide to blow this concept up to something more ambitious. I suspect the final painting, if I ever come to it, of this particular concept will look incredibly different to what I achieved in this small painting. Of this small series, this one is perhaps one of my favourite concepts, but least favourite small paintings. I still like it, but I know I can make it better. I know I can take it to the next level. I don't know how many levels there will be yet, but I'm excited to try and pursue that idea, and I'm excited about trying to get better at painting the specific look I'm looking for. And now we're moving on to the last piece. So that's about 6 paintings in a couple weeks. Each piece was a success in some ways and a work in progress in others. But that's true of most pieces. You keep growing forever, really. There's always a point where you look back on your work even just a few days later and think, I can do better now, or now I see how I could have improved this. And it's frustrating sometimes to never really feel like you are ever fully satisfied with anything you make, but at the same time, that's just part of what growing is like. It's part of what progress is like. And in truth, I think that if you look back on a piece you created recently and look at it and go, I could have done better, or I wish I'd done this differently, or I'm not sure I'm fully satisfied with this, to me that's a sign that you've already grown just by creating that piece. While I could wallow in the feeling of perpetual dissatisfaction and just wonder if I'm ever get to a point where I'll have peace of mind about a piece I created, I also try to remember that the reason I feel that way about the piece is because just by creating it, I evolved and improved. I definitely try to keep that positive spin in my head whenever, oh, there's a great tit on my bird feeder. Oh, they're so pretty, I love them so much. Bye bye. I'm getting distracted by all the birds. Sorry. All in all, I think this little project was a small success, and I feel like it got me off on the right foot after my break. Okay, next project. I want to try and fill this piece of paper with lots and lots of tiny paintings, a little bit like these. I think that will be my next video. So see you then. Bye everyone.